Hey family, it is your girl, Michelle Allen Franklin, honey. Mrs. Michelle D.I. Why? Because there are no coincidences in this world, only God's divine intervention in our lives. And Mrs. D.I. Why? Because you know your girl is going to always give you the good information, the things that you need for your mind, your body, your spirit, and your emotions. Now, we are coming up on a beautiful time. Your girl is out here networking, and networking some more. I don't know if you saw this weekend or not, but if you didn't, we're gonna replay tonight the show that premiered on Saturday with Miss Kerwin on menopause and the effects that it has on each and every person. But right now, I am going to replay an episode that is really near and dear to me. It is on forgiveness. For some reason, forgiveness kept coming up yesterday, kept coming up, and the Lord laid on my heart to replay this episode. It is from the Faith Walk series, day 30, May the 30th of last year during the Faith Walk series. And it is about forgiveness. It is 7 steps that can help you to start processing forgiveness. And you know how your girl do it. I'm always giving you that good information and being transparent with my own journey. And so this is a very transparent, vulnerable conversation that I had to have with myself on forgiveness. And so I share that journey with you. For anybody out there that's struggling with forgiveness, or if you know someone that's struggling with forgiveness, please share this word with them. Thank you. Let's go. So this is unforgiveness. Let me go to my definition. This is the definition of forgiveness. We're getting into it. Forgiveness is a conscious and deliberate decision to let go of feelings of anger, resentment, and the desire for revenge towards someone who has harmed or wronged you. It involves releasing negative emotions and choosing to move forward without holding on to the grudge or seeking retribution. I don't know about you, but I've had people in my life where forgiveness has been easy sometimes to do, depending on things, right? It has been easy. And then there have been some other things that just has not been. The number one thing that you can do when it is time to, when you get to a place where you're ready to forgive and you're ready to let go of something, is to acknowledge that thing, right? Acknowledge it. We all have something. I'm telling you, every time my computer's like 5%. I'm about to shut off, honey. Every time that we have something inside of us emotionally, right? It's in there because what? We haven't acknowledged it. We just going and being and doing, acting like everything is regular, acting like you done had some stuff that's happened to you. Oh no, no, it never happened. Because what, it happened a long time ago. So since it happened a long time ago, I don't have to acknowledge that thing anymore. thing. I don't need to talk about it. Guess what? Your body still remembers. Today, this book is called The Body Keeps the Score. Oh, where's my camera? Yeah, there it is. Your body keeps the score. You know what? My good friend Maisha, she's online as Diva Maisha right now. Honey told me about that book, Your Body Keeps the Score. What does that mean? That means no matter what, if you go through life and something has happened to you and you call yourself moving on, because you ain't talked about it, but that was a long time ago, guess what? Your body still remembers. What do you think an anxiety and a panic attack is? What happens is that we have triggers, right? So say something happened to you a long time ago, and you trying to figure out why you see something that reminds you of that long time ago, and then all of a sudden you're crying. You was just good, happy, and fine. But I've had people in my life where forgiveness has been easy sometimes. It's called it's never too late. It's never too late. You can do it. You can start. You can say it. You know, that waiting for the perfect time is setting yourself up for failure. It is a mode of self sabotage. And so just don't. Just don't, right? Just don't. So this is unforgiveness. Let me go to my definition. This is the definition of forgiveness. We're getting into it. Forgiveness is a conscious and deliberate decision to let go of feelings of anger, resentment, and the desire for revenge towards someone who has harmed or wronged you. It involves releasing negative emotions and choosing to move forward without holding on to the grudge or seeking retribution. I don't know about you, but I've had people in my life where forgiveness has been easy sometimes to do, depending on things, right? It has been easy. And then there have been some other things that it just has not been. The number one thing that you can do when it is time to, when you get to a place where you're ready to forgive and you're ready to let go of something, is to acknowledge that thing, right? Acknowledge it. We all have something. I'm telling you, every time my computer's like 5%. I'm about to shut off, honey. Every time that we have something inside of us emotionally, right? It's in there because what? We haven't acknowledged it. We just going and being and doing, acting like everything is regular, acting like you done had some stuff that's happened to you. Oh, no, but it ain't never happened. Because what? It happened a long time ago. So since it happened a long time ago, I don't have to acknowledge that thing. I don't need to talk about it. Guess what? Your body still remembers. I shared the other day, this book is called The Body Keeps the Score. Oh, where's my camera? Yeah, there it is. Your body keeps a score. You know what? My good friend Maisha, she's online as Diva Maisha right now. Honey told me about that book, Your Body Keeps a Score. What does that mean? That means no matter what, if you go through life and something has happened to you and you call yourself moving on, because you ain't talked about it, but that was a long time ago, guess what? Your body still remembers. What do you think an anxiety and a panic attack is? What happens is that we have triggers, right? So say something happened to you a long time ago, and you trying to figure out why you see something that reminds you of that long time ago, and then all of a sudden you crying. You was just good, happy, and fine. And now all of a sudden, you boo-hooing, you crying, you can't breathe because your body remembers. Whether you're trying to block that thing out and acknowledge it and keep it moving, your body remembers. And so you have to, first step, acknowledge something happened. Something happened to me. Something wasn't right. Acknowledging the hurt, recognizing the hurt and the pain and the impact that it has had on you. I went through so much of my life with my oldest brother, and my brother has always been very verbal about the things that happened in our childhood. And a lot of times people would hear things and they would be very empathetic. And then, as time goes on, as time went on, people are like, you need to move past that. Why always still talking about that? What's wrong with him? I found myself even in situations that I've been in. I've had people say that to me. Michelle, why are you still talking about that? Why are you still? Well, one, because it was never fully acknowledged by the adults in my life that should have acknowledged it. And so, yeah, I'm going to feel some kind of way about it. Yeah, I'm still going to feel it in my body. Yeah, it still hurts me. Because if you don't acknowledge something, that means what? Does it mean anything to you? Especially if it's from a parent. Do you love me enough to understand how this has affected me? You feel some kind of way about it. Do you love me enough? Do you love me? Because I'm telling you that this hurt me and you're not listening. That hurt me. Acknowledge that. Not that you can go back and change it, but at least in my mind, let me know that I'm not crazy. Because at this point, you got me thinking I'm crazy, that I'm feeling some kind of way just because. No, something very significant happened to me. My stepmother choking the hell out of me. Bitch, I hate you. Bitch, I'll kill you. And then the whole rest of my life has shown me nothing different but that you hate me has affected my life. Oh, I forgot. Wait a minute. I forgot. I'm a Black girl, so I'm not supposed to talk about this stuff. We're not supposed to acknowledge stuff that has happened to us in our house, right? What stays in the house, what goes on in the house stays in the house. And what has that developed? What has that shown me? So again, I'm sitting up wondering why at 45 years old, I was diagnosed with PTSD because guess what? Some things happened to me in my childhood that the adults did not protect me from, that were traumatic things. What things have happened to you in your life that maybe some adults didn't protect you from, that were traumatic things? I'm supposed to be embarrassed. I'm supposed to be ashamed. I'm supposed to feel guilty. I'm supposed to feel some kind of way because an adult did something to me. You're supposed to be embarrassed. You're ashamed because an adult or even another child or whoever it was, somebody that was supposed to be protecting you, did something to you? No, no. The devil is a liar. He whispers in your ear and makes you think that the things that have happened to you are your fault. And they're not. There's no justification for an adult woman to be choking a child. There's no justification for whatever has happened to you as a child. No justification, right? And so, can you acknowledge that thing and say, damn, that hurt me? I acknowledged that thing and I said, damn, I don't understand why that happened. That was a result of me asking, why don't you like me? I said, why don't you like me? What did I do to you? And the response was, bitch, I hate you. I'm going to move on. But again, acknowledging the hurt, honey. I had to sit and acknowledge that thing because we didn't talk about it. My dad took me up to my big mama's house. We didn't talk about it. And every time it comes up, it's, are you not over that yet? Oh, that happened a long time ago. Have we talked about it? Have you acknowledged that that happened to me yet? And so I'm saying all this to say, sometimes you have to go back to your parents and have a conversation with them or whoever it is to have them acknowledge, right? I'm going to give you another example and I'm going to move on. I was raped, right? I talk about it in my fear video. I talk about it a lot, actually, because I believe there's so many women, even men, that have been violated. And so one year, I just made up in my mind, I'm not taking this into my new year. And I was watching this guy, MJ. He is a personality on Facebook, MJ Harris. And he had approached his violator from when he was little. And I was like, you know what? He called him on the phone. And I was watching the episode like, oh my God, he gonna call him? What is the man gonna say? What's gonna happen? Is he gonna answer the phone? Right? I watched the whole thing with my mouth like halfway open, like, oh my God. It was an amazing episode. When he called the man cried on the phone. He cried so much that MJ was like trying to console him on the phone. And I was like, oh my God. But what that did for me is that it gave me the courage to not say, again, I'm not taking this into my new year. I'm going to release this thing. I'm ready to forgive and let it go. And I contacted my rapist. I did. I sent them a message. And I was sitting there and I'm like, you're looking at your phone. Like, you send a message and you're like, looking. Did he respond? Waiting for him to respond. He didn't respond for at least, I think it was about 6 weeks, at least 6 weeks. And one random day, I was at work about to go to lunch, just clocked out and my phone rung. And it was him. Oh my God, my heart was beating fast. I was like, oh my God. And as we're talking, he tried to tell me that he didn't remember, that he had had a car accident, had been in a terrible accident, and he lost a lot of memory and didn't remember. But guess what? I sat there and I almost let him do that. But as he continued to talk, I remember he was going into, I remember we went this place. I remember you went that place. So you have memory of everything else but what you did to me? So I went in a little bit deeper. So by the end of it, yeah, he acknowledged that thing. Oh, you're not going to get by what you did to me. No, I'm not going to allow you to do that. So then he did apologize. He did acknowledge. And the release that I got from that, it was amazing. I didn't need anything else. But to be acknowledged, it makes a tremendous difference. To understand and know that, you did this to me and this is how it affected me. And that was the conversation. I trusted you. I didn't deserve what you did to me. Right? It's a different release that happens and you're able to move on. Now, some people have passed away. some things that have happened to you, it happened with a person that maybe they're not here anymore. You're not going to physically get you know, you're not going to physically get and be able to hear the words. But I have worked with people and we've done certain things. We have done balloon releases where we've written letters or we written on a balloon and we wrote a message and we sent it up. We've also, done things like, letters or journaling that we wrote, but anything to get it out your belly because it's in you. That anger, those feelings, those emotions are real. And again, you're carrying around resentment. And at the end of the day, it is killing you, right? It's killing you slowly. It's developing into cancer cells. It's developing into high blood pressure. It's developing into diabetes. It's developing, right? And so it's not, when they say forgiveness, it's not for the other person, it's for you. That truly is true, right? And so I didn't do it for him. I did it for me, right? I did it for me. And some things are not so simple. And so in those things, that's when you get you a professional. That's the things that you work with your therapist through so that you can figure out what works best for you to release. Okay. But again, acknowledging the hurt. Okay. Number 2, understanding the benefits of forgiveness. This has consider the potential benefits of forgiveness for your own well-being. And these are the steps. I'm sorry if I didn't announce this. I don't think I did. These are the steps that can help in the process of forgiving. Okay. So this is 7 steps I'm going to go over. So this is number 2. First one was what? Acknowledging the hurt. Number 2, understanding the benefits of forgiveness. Because like I'm saying, it's not for the other person. It is definitely for you. It says the potential benefits of forgiveness for your own well-being. Forgiving can bring emotional freedom, reduce stress, improve relationships, and promote overall mental health. Number 3, emphasize and seek perspective. Try to understand the perspective of the person who harmed you. This can be very hard. This can be very hard. I feel like the reason why I was able to get to a place of even thinking about forgiveness is because I was on a spiritual journey. And I know people that have and have not been, and they've been able to forgive or not. So I'm just telling you what worked for me. You do what's best for you, right? Whatever gets you there. But what helped me was that I was fasting. I was praying and I was asking God to please help me to release. The Lord, when I'm ready, help me to release. And the very first thing that I did was I forgave myself for some things. And then it got to a place where I could start forgiving others, right? But I had to forgive myself first. And it was very, very much a spiritual path. It still is that I'm on. But it started off with very, very specifically looking at the people that have done things to me. And for me, the situation with my stepmother is the number one thing that's on my list. And I've had some very trifling things that have happened to me. I've had some very trifling things that have happened, but that situation and just the unforgiveness, because I felt like how you can forgive a rapist and you can't forgive, that was like the very last thing on my list. But for me, it was a necessary thing. And I started praying because how I looked at it initially, just true transparency, how I looked at it initially is I put everything else on the list except that. I was like, F that. I didn't want to forgive. I didn't see how it was crippling me until 2022, because of that all played a role as well. Until 2022, and it got down to literally my health, because again, the way that my body imploded on me with the inflammation, and me not being able to do the things that I needed to do in this world to be who I know God has called me to be, for me to have this physical and really be entrapped. Like it was almost like I definitely entrapped myself. I put myself in a cage that only I had the key. And I literally had to mentally get myself back. And it was almost like I I entrapped myself in this cage, and then I hit the key for myself. It took a long time, damn near the whole year, to find myself and to figure out. And I allowed everything else, again, myself to forgive everything else but that situation. And it wasn't because it was just that situation. It was because really it had been a lifelong um, situation at the situation. It wasn't just one thing. I don't know about you, but if you've ever had somebody that you felt like was intentionally trying to harm you, it's a little bit harder, right? It's a little bit harder to forgive those people. And so for me, that was my issue. I couldn't figure that out. I'm like, because I felt like my whole life there's been an intentional aim to harm at this point. And so it is emphasizing and seeking perspective. Why is this person intentionally trying to harm me? Because I know I haven't done anything to you. So I have to look at that thing, right? As a woman, I'm looking at that thing. So let's go back and revisit. This is, baby, I'm an open book. If this is going to help somebody, because I need you to understand, right? Why people are the way that they are. So you're taking a look at the person. Who are they? It says, recognize that everyone has flaws, makes mistakes, and may have been influenced by their own struggles or circumstances. This helped me tremendously. When I think about my stepmother, I think about where she came from. So I started revisiting. I literally prayed for God to give me this because I couldn't pull it on my own. This is information that I've known all along, but I couldn't see it because I was angry, right? But when I think about it, when I think about my stepmom, I think about her, how she steals from my dad, how she allows my sister to steal from my dad, how she's taught her different things, how she's very influential over her life. Um, I think about just never having any motherly instinct towards me or my brother. I think about, again, just the very intentional harm that I feel like she's tried, whether it's been in that one physical way or even just very much in the background, holding strings over my father. And so I'm thinking about her life. I started thinking about this. It's when again, 2022, I was like, you know what? I need to let this go. And so I started thinking about her life. I thought about what I remembered about her mother. And I thought about what I remembered about her upbringing. Now, I was young, so I don't remember much about her mom. I don't remember much. I can't really say that I remember anything, but I do remember going down to her home. I remember going to Jacksonville. I remember there being an outhouse. I remember them not having running water in the house. What does that mean? Why is she so money hungry? Well, she grew up poor. She grew up poor. Well in the 80s. I'm a 77 baby. Well in the 80s, before they even had running water in their home. And so to put it in perspective, people are that don't come from a lot, of course they're going to be money hungry. Like that's not even like it's not a far thing to imagine, right? So of course, some people are, some people aren't. I don't know what all, I don't know what all happened with the brothers and the sisters and all of, like, I don't know, right? But again, put in perspective of, why do you feel the need to steal? Why do you feel the need to lie? Why do you feel the need to cheat people? I don't know what all she had to do to, grow up in that situation, to grow up in that environment. You know what I mean? I don't know. But I can say that it shifted, because I can literally remember going out into an outhouse to use the bathroom. So just trying to imagine what growing up in that environment must have been like. Okay. So then some people are like, well, Michelle, I didn't give her a right to, be whatever towards you. But when I think about it from a woman's perspective, right? And from a woman's perspective, I look just like my mother. I look just like my mother. I always have. And so there's been a thing there. Because in the beginning, my stepmother was the mistress. She wasn't the wife. She's the wife now. But when it started, my mom was the wife and she was the mistress. And then here my dad is. Maybe she thought it's over because my mom left and took us and went back to Baltimore. And here my dad is sending for these kids every year. And so all I can remember is I'm tired of taking care of other people's kids. I'm in my little mind trying to process who was the other people. Like I didn't know that I was I didn't know that that was me. I didn't know that that was me. I know that's my brother. Like I didn't know that. But it made sense as I got older, because I don't even remember a lot of things, but I can hear that, right? And then it showed later, right? So the day that the incident happened that I was referring to earlier, it happened because my stepmother would come home and bring food for her and my sister. And I would be home hungry after school. It's 5, 6 o'clock, and they just get home. Everything is frozen, right? Everything is frozen. They come in with McDonald's, and like nothing. That's, oh no, nothing's for you. No, no, that's not. And so after this has happened continuously, right, time and time again, excuse me, I just asked her. I was like, why don't you like me? What did I do to you? Like, why don't you like me? And my little 16-year-old mind, like, I'm like, what did I do? Like, I'm thinking, I'm trying to wreck my little mind. Like, I don't know what I've done to this woman for her to hate me so much. And that turned into this whole big argument. And this is the gift when I say that there are lessons and blessings out of everything. This was my eye opening. And for the rest of my life, I've been able to recognize manipulation from this one situation. When this happened, her and I started arguing. She started yelling and everything at me. And next thing I know, we're in this like physical thing. Like I literally don't remember throwing a punch. I just remember her hands being around my neck. I remember being on the ground, and I don't even know how I got on the ground, to be honest with you, because I think it was so traumatic for me that some of it is blanked out. But it wasn't like we were fighting. It wasn't a physical fight. It wasn't that at all. But it was again, I for somehow I don't know if I slipped or what, but I know that I was on the ground. My sister, younger, because I was 16 at the time, so she must have called my dad, because next thing I know is I can't even hardly breathe, right? Her hands are literally pressing on my esophagus, and sometimes I can still feel it. Until I healed from it, I could still feel it. I literally just released that a few months ago. Prior to that, when I would tell this story, I could still feel it as if it was happening. I could hardly breathe, right? And so I'm there and I can hear my dad's. You know how back in the day, the men used to have the little clips and they would put the keys on the hook and clip them. That's what I heard my dad, like I heard the keys like thumping on his leg coming down the hallway. I heard my dad coming down the hallway. And as my dad cut the corner, she jumped up and acted as though she was crying, ran past my dad, down the hallway, into the kitchen, out the back door. I heard the back door slam, and she's going, I don't know why she doesn't like me. I don't know why she doesn't like me. So I always say for me, the Romans 8:28, and that was, oh, I can definitely hear, see, I feel manipulation. I hear it, I see it, I feel it, I can't stand it to this day. And so, but from that, my dad, again, because as Black folk, we ain't talking about nothing, right? We are, he just took me to my big mama's and I stayed a couple days up there. And then it's kind of been as if it never happened. And so, again, number three is emphasizing and seeking perspective. Why couldn't my dad acknowledge what happened to me then and now? Probably because he's trying to figure out a way. He really can't. Like, my dad is the type of person, because I do feel like my dad is a protector. In this situation, I don't feel like my dad me. I don't at all. I don't to this day. And that's part of one of the things that I had with him. But I do feel like my father is a protector. But in this situation, for whatever reason, and when I say for whatever reason, the reason is because it's still his wife today. He still has to wrap around his mind some kind of way because he's still with her. So if I sat up and I thought about what you've done to my child, can I really allow you to be in my household? Like, would I really be able to be with you? No, I can't. So it's better off for me not to acknowledge. Again, with emphasizing and seeking perspective, right? And so the way that I had to process this thing last year is I had to process it like, you know what? Initially, I was angry. I was more hurt than angry, but it did bring about some anger. But I had to get to a point where I realized at the end of the day, whether I understand why my dad wants to be with somebody that steals from him, why my dad want to be with somebody that manipulates the hell out of him, why my dad want to be with somebody that did not care for him or his children. That's my dad's life, right? That's my dad's life. He has to live with that. He has to deal with that. He has to process those things. He has to answer those questions for himself. I have a choice on whether I sit up and I try to figure out, why is my dad, because this is where I was at. Why is my dad staying with her? Why is he allowing himself to be there? Why is he? That's me being in my dad's lane, right? I'm breaking this thing down to you because I need for you to understand, because somebody out there is in somebody else's lane, right? Yeah, it affected me. Yeah, it did. It affects me still. Yeah, it does. But I have a choice. I have a choice on how I'm looking at that thing. At the end of the day, my life is my life. If I don't like what my dad is doing or what's going on in my dad's house, then guess what? I come to. I got my own house. I got my own lane that I need to worry about. I can't worry about why he's making the decisions that he's making. You cannot continue to worry about why people are making the decisions that they're making, because again, nothing that they say is going to make it better. There's not a damn thing my father could say to me to justify it. Nothing. Nothing. So what am I waiting for? What am I looking for? What are you waiting for? This is this is a different conversation, honey. You got to be ready. This is a different conversation. I'm asking you, what are you waiting for? Who are you waiting for to justify some behavior that is unjustifiable? You have a choice. Are you going to continue to allow that thing to sit up in you and develop, to cause your body to fight against you, to cause hypertension, to cause cancer, to cause a heart attack, to cause a stroke, to cause irritable bowel syndrome? So are you going to sit and wait to die? Why you just waiting for this answer that is never going to make damn sense anyway? Yeah, this is how I had to talk to myself. I'm telling you this because this is the things that I had to say to myself because I was stuck. I was able to forgive everything and everybody else, but I was stuck in that thing. I'm trying to get you to peace, honey. I'm trying to get you to peace. The only way is you gotta let some shit go and some. I mean, it's just there ain't no better way to say it. Some fucked up things. How can I let this go? What do I need to do? How can I gain a different perspective on this thing? How can I look at this thing differently? That's what I had to do. I had to look at the thing differently. Do I want to know the answers? Some days, yeah, I still want to know the answers. Yeah. But again, at the end of the day, it's nothing that can be said. It's not going to take it away. But I would still like the acknowledgement. But what I had to make up in my mind is that if I never get it, because my dad and that generation, them 50 babies, that generation of people, I love you all, but y'all are in a generation where, it's disrespectful to ask, or it's disrespectful, or we can't have a conversation, or you've done some things and you can't acknowledge them. You will act and pretend as if it never happens, and you don't even understand how your children are affected. You are living in a world where I don't know why they don't call me like they used to call me. I don't know why they don't come by and see me. I don't know why. Clueless. But are you really? Are you really? And I'm saying all this to the people in the world who has a child that hasn't called. Or is it children that might not call and check up on you? Or a person they used to call and now they don't. Oh, something done happened. Something has happened. People don't just stop just because. So it is, on both perspectives, like how long are you going to quote unquote stay in that darkness? How long are you going to stay in that shadow? How long are you going to pretend and act like you don't understand or know what's going on? You got to get to a point whether, again, somebody acknowledges your hurt or they don't. You acknowledge it. You get to a point where, okay, Lord, help me. I had to say, Lord, help me process. Help me process this thing differently. I know that it's killing me. I don't want to die like this. I don't want to die like this. I don't want to not be in purpose because I'm holding around resentment and anger and I can't get my thoughts wrapped around anything else. Number 4, Let go of resentment. You're making a conscious decision to let go of resentment and the desire of for revenge, understanding that holding on to those negative emotions only prolongs your own suffering. We just talked about that, didn't we? Number 5, excuse me. Practice self-compassion. Practice self-compassion. Treat yourself with kindness and compassion throughout the forgiveness process. Acknowledge your own pain and give yourself permission to heal and give forgiveness. This is huge, guys. Family, this is huge. Because again, for a long period of time, I felt guilty about being angry with my father. I felt guilty about being angry with things that have happened to me. Why am I feeling guilty about what somebody else has done or allowed to happen to me? Why am I feeling guilty about that? About to use my earring. Why are you feeling guilty about that? It is so strange. What is that? Mm-mm, mm-mm. I was talking to one of my cousins about this, and she told me, she said, my big mama told her about this Bible verse says, parents, do not provoke your children to anger. And I was like, what? It's in the Bible. It's in the Bible. Parents, do not provoke your children to anger. So it is, some things that our parents have done to us, right? Some things that have happened that are not right. Because when I say guilty, and this is how I would pray, because I'm a different kind of angry. My mind just works differently. I'm just a different kind of angry. And I'm so angry that I will stay away from you when I'm angry with you, because I don't want to disrespect you. Right. And I know me. Right. I know me. And so if I'm staying away, I'm trying to remain respectful till I can get back to a good place. I'm gonna have to stay away because I don't want to be disrespectful, right? And some situations it's hard to just be quiet, right? When you're really feeling some kind of way. And I was at a tipping point where every situation you looked a blink. Why are you blinking like that? Like I was there, like everything irritated me, everything. And so I was like, that is not a good space. That is not good energy. You need not just stay home, stay away, right? Do what you got to do and leave, because I'm not a disrespectful person and I don't want to portray that way. And I know me when I respond, because I don't respond in that way often, but when I do respond, I'm going to slice you in half. Oh, you won't feel that thing and you won't forever feel it. And so I really try not to go there. You know what I mean? Like I really try not to go there, because then once I am there and it starts, that's it, it's over. That's it, it's over. I get to cussing and saying some things, it's over. I don't know how to turn it off. It's like it. Some people are like, Michelle, for real? Yeah, for real. For real. Like you gotta know yourself. Like seriously, you got to know yourself. And so I just try very hard not to get there. So again, I stay away, right? I've just stayed away. Um, and so my cousin was saying, my cousin said, don't provoke your children to anger. And so I was like, really? But yeah, it is in the Bible, because any and everybody, your parents are going to let you down. Your friends are going to let you down. It's going to be like Your children are going to let you down. You're going to let yourself down. You know what I mean? And so you have to have some compassion. You have to have some compassion for yourself. No, yo, you know what? Yeah, that was messed up. You don't need nobody to co-sign that thing. You know how you feel about it. You know how it made you feel. It was jacked up. It wasn't right. It wasn't, right? You don't need anybody to tell you that. I know sometimes it helps, of course, the acknowledgement, right? Number one, it helps. But at the end of the day, give yourself some grace. Now, I have a right to be mad about this because it is jacked up. I had a right to be upset. It is jacked up. But I was saying the way that I pray, I'm like, Lord, please don't let anything happen to my parents while I'm feeling this way. Because I had a period of time years ago when I was upset with my mom. Very, very upset with my mom. Like not the same situation, but I mean, I was feeling the same way. And but I prayed. I said, Lord, please don't let anything happen to my dad. Please don't let anything happen to my mom while I'm in this space. That's how I prayed. Lord, help me to get over it. Help me to see, help me to get to a place of forgiveness. Please don't let anything before I can have a conversation, before I can get to forgiveness, before I can put my arms back around him. Same thing with my mom years ago. Please, Lord, just allow me to have these feelings and don't allow anything to happen to them because I don't want to feel this way. I don't want to be angry, right? You don't want to be angry. You don't want to be, but allow yourself to process. Allow yourself to process. You're not wrong for feeling the feelings that you're feeling if you've been wronged or something has happened to you or somebody dropped the damn ball, right? I tell my daughter this all the time. Like, I understand I dropped the ball on a couple of things, right? I understand. It's okay to be mad at me about some stuff because it was wrong. I've called my daughter apologizing when I was on my very intentional healing journey. I called my daughter apologizing. This is the difference between my dad's generation and mine. So I'm going to acknowledge what I've done. I know what I did. I know where I messed up. And then it might be some things in her mind where, hey, nah, I didn't do that. Right? But this is what happened. And this is what I was thinking. I'm sorry that you felt that way. I'm sorry that this happened. Understand that I was young. Not an excuse, but at the same time, I didn't know, right? As a parent, as a mother, or whatever, we don't know. I'm sure even for my father, when it says, get the compassion for the person, as my father, do I think that if my father would know what this has done to me, what it's been doing to me, if he knew that it was going to do this to me, if he knew that I would be feeling this way, if he knew that I was freaking suicidal last year behind all this bullshit, do you think like, but they're so oblivious to it. There's some generations like they're so emotionally uninvolved, and my father is some emotionally uninvolved. He has been. I had to sit up and think about that, right? Like this didn't just start. I can remember coming down for the summer, and I hated I hated that my mom was in Baltimore and my dad was here. I hated it. I hated leaving him. I hated leaving Baltimore. I hated leaving Texas. Like, I've always been very much torn. And I can remember going to the airport one summer. We were on our way back, and I remember like crying. And my dad was like, "You was just laughing. Like, what are you crying for?" And I was like, "Dad, I don't like it. I don't like leaving." He's like, get like stop. Like, come on, stop that. I realized as an adult that it broke his heart too, I'm sure. And he didn't know how to deal with that. I can go back and have compassion for him because I couldn't imagine. Like, I know how I felt when I would send my oldest down for the summer. Like, my bones, my body would hurt. I missed her so much. My body hurt. Like, I physically was like, oh my God, like I stayed, at work or whatever. That was the plan for me to send her to the summer so she could come down here and I could work for the summer because I was in nursing school and I would work for the summer and then I'd be off for the semester so that I can focus. That was my plan, right? So I can get through school. But my body would hurt. I missed her so much. I could hear my daughter upstairs, knowing she's in Texas. I would hear her playing upstairs. Like, I'm like, girl, you are tripping. Like, the girl is in. One day I called her. I'm calling all around because one of my patients reminded me of her. I couldn't find her. Like, my body would hurt. So I could just imagine. And then you go back to your family is jacked up because you cheated on your wife and you couldn't get it together. Like, that's another layer that I don't know how that feels, right? I don't know what you had to go through, and then the person that you get is a liar, a cheater, a manipulator, a thief. A whole nother layer. So again, can I have some compassion? Can you have some compassion for whoever has done whatever to you? Can you look at it from a different angle? Can you look at it from their lens? I know that there's some unworthiness in my daddy's belly. I know there is. I know that there's some fear in his belly. I know that there is. I know that there's some shame and some guilt in his belly because I didn't know my grandfather, but the stories that I've heard of him. And the other part that I know for sure is that my grandfather passed away when my dad was in his 20s, right in the height of all of this, when my grandfather was sick, and then he passed away. And here comes the mistress, and here comes the self-destruction, and here comes 40 years now of holding yourself hostage in a situation that maybe you feel like you're worthy of because you holding yourself in this shame and guilt and all of this stuff very subconsciously, not consciously, very subconsciously as we do. So again, it is, can you have some compassion for the other person's story, for whoever hurt you? I had to go deep with this, y'all. Some people are like, oh my God, Michelle, are you really telling all of this? Yes. Yes, I am. You know why? Because again, I Romans 8 and 28, every damn situation in my life. I don't care what it is. I don't care what it looks like. I don't care who it's about. If it affected me in my life, I'm going to tell you the lessons that I learned from it. I'm going to tell you how I got over it because somebody out there is going through it. I didn't go through all that shit for nothing. I didn't go through it for nothing. I know that for sure. I didn't go through it for anything. What can I pull out of the crazy? Because at the end of the day, these stories and these things that are happening to us, are they happening to us? Or do they happen for us? Lessons and blessings. Lessons and blessings. That was the biggest hurdle. That was the biggest unforgiveness that I had 45 years. I was 2 years old when my dad and my mom separated. So you're talking 40, my whole life. my whole life. What a release it is on the other side of it, y'all. On the other side of it, it is. On the other side of that valley, when I released that thing with my dad, when I released that thing with my stepmom, because I literally got to a point where I said, Lord, forbid, because I thought if my dad passes, I had to get there. I had to get there. If my dad passes away and I don't get to see him, because at one point, my sister was hiding my dad from me. I didn't see him for a whole year. And he allowed it. He allowed it. And I went through a what? I was so confused. But I had to get to Michelle, that's his choice. That is his life. I don't know why he's doing the things that he's doing. I, I don't have the time nor the strength. I had nothing left. I didn't have the time nor the strength to try to figure out what somebody else is doing and why they're doing it. You don't have the time nor the strength to figure out what somebody else is doing and why. What are you doing? Why are you doing it? Why are you allowing a situation to control you like this? How long are you going to do that? When are you going to let it go? Have you suffered enough yet? I'm asking you because I asked me. It's how I had to get there. So I prayed, Lord, please don't let it be. But I said to myself, Lord, if I have to, because I didn't know how it was going to end. I didn't know what was going on. I didn't know why it was going on. There are some questions that you're going to have to keep going, whether you have the answers or not. There are some questions or some things that have happened. You are going to have to keep going, whether you know and understand the answers or not. What are you doing? You cannot sit. You cannot wallow any longer. You have done that enough. And I'm going to go a little bit deeper. I'm going to go a little bit deeper on this forgiveness and this unforgiveness. What I know with every being in my body is that any time that you are called to purpose, the devil will use the closest people, the people that you love the most. He will use them, and it is just a distraction. His job is to distract your ass long enough to get you to the grave. So if you can wallow just long and wallow for years, because as we're wallowing, we don't even realize time is still going. The clock is still ticking. So guess what? I wallowed in darkness when Big Mama and my stepfather passed for 2 years. Easy. I didn't even know 2 years had passed. Wallowed for 2 straight years. And then did another half-assing until 2019. Another some more half-ass until 2019. 4 years. Just existing. Just like going and being and doing. Just getting up on autopilot. Just getting up, going to work, coming home, getting up, going to work, coming home, getting up, going to work, coming home, take care of the girl, getting home, coming up. Autopilot. How long are you going to stay on autopilot? Like, you got to come off of autopilot, honey. You got to come off. I know, I know it like it looks like you got over some things. I know it looks like you might have forgiven some people, but I'm gonna tell you how you'll know because you'll feel it. It's in the pit of your belly. You'll feel it. So anybody got to say nothing to you. You'll feel it. This is not about my dad having an affair 10 years ago. This is not even about him staying with with my stepmother for 40 years. This is not about her even putting her hands around me, bitch, I hate you, and then around my throat and choking the fuck out of me. It's not about, know what it's about? It's about me and how I choose to handle the situation. Even with my sister, how painful it is. You never had a fight, never had a nothing, and all of a sudden, because of somebody else's influence, it's crazy and it's chaos. Can I fault my sister? Can I be mad at my sister? Can I? It's her mother. It's her mother. Even when you know that somebody is wrong and you doing something, they have so much influence over you. It's her mother. So it doesn't matter. Now, this is very important. This is very important, and I'm wrapping up, but this is very important. In your finding compassion, in your finding of forgiveness, what does that look like for you? I'm a Christian woman. And so for me, I used to think that forgiveness, oh my God, I have to allow this person back into my space. We got to be able to eat. We got to be able to go out. We got to be able to do the things we used to do. We got to do this. We got to do that. We got to put the show on. I got to be able to. But it's not. It's not. Forgiveness happens inside of you. You don't have to prove your forgiveness to anyone. You are in attendance with a party of one. That is God. When you release that thing from your body and from your spirit, you don't have to go out parading it around to everybody. See, look, I forgave her. We can take a picture together now. Smile. See, I forgave her, so we can go over and we can have dinner now. We can go and do this and we can go and do that and we can. No, some things and some situations, you love people from a distance, and that's okay. Oh my God. See, you ain't forgive her because you gotta, that's their definition of forgiveness. That's what forgiveness looks like for them. What does forgiveness look like for you? Because again, you are only worried about one audience member, one who is with you all the time. Oh, what is that? I don't even know what that is. I have never heard that noise before. Like, is that my phone? I don't even know what that was. It was loud. I have no idea. My ringer's off. Like, I'm putting my phone on Do Not Disturb. I don't know what that was. Nevertheless, again, you are in with a party of one, right? What does that forgiveness look like for you? Because we tend to want to pretend. We tend to want to, put on a show or whatever. But when you truly forgive somebody, there's a release that happens in your spirit. There's a joy that comes over you, right? There is something that happens where it doesn't matter. It doesn't even matter. You can see that person, it doesn't matter. Whereas before you would see that person, you feel some kind of way. It doesn't even matter, right? But again, you're doing what is best for you. What does that thing look like for you? What forgiveness looks like for me and what forgiveness looks like for you, two different things. Two different things. That brings us to setting boundaries, number 6. Setting boundaries. Forgiveness does not mean that you have to reconcile or continue the relationship as it was before. I ain't making this up. I know y'all thought I was making this up. This is in the print. Setting boundaries. It's a part of self-love, honey. Probably one of the best things that you can ever do for yourself, right? Setting boundary. It is important to set healthy boundaries to protect yourself and ensure your well-being. If somebody has done something to break your trust, why are you putting yourself back in that person's presence? Why you no, you don't get that right back with me. You don't get that. But there's some people that you don't want to really cut off, right? But you will set some boundaries. Hey, you know what? You've disrespected me enough before. I allowed you to say something, so on, whatever. But guess what? That's not going to happen anymore. So I'll respectfully stay over here. You can stay over there. Whatever it is. You can love people from a distance. It's fine. Right? Because again, it's just like I said before. You have your own house to go to. I have my own house to come to. You ain't gotta go stay in nobody's house. You ain't gotta go and do nobody. You don't have to do that. Why are you trying to do that? Only if you make the choice. Only if that's what you want to do, not because you feel like you have to do it. Don't put on no fake show, honey. Don't put on no fake show. Again, let me read that number 6. Set boundaries. I set boundaries, honey. I don't know. I don't know if I've ever had boundaries like this before in my life. They include everyone. Everyone. Forgiving someone does not mean that you have to reconcile or continue the relationship as it was before. That is so hard. So hard for some people. But I'm telling you, once you release that thing, because guess what? Things are different now. We're so busy trying to make things go back to what they were before, but guess what? They're different. It is different. Is it my fault that it's different? I had to have this conversation with myself. I didn't make it different. Why am I feeling some kind of way? I didn't do this. I'm responding. You're responding, right? You're trying to figure out a way, okay, these things have happened. Now, how can I move forward? This is how I can move forward in peace and in love with me, in peace and love in my life, in peace and love in my spirit, right? It's a different conversation. Not in peace and love because I'm trying to make you happy, not in peace and love because of, no, set boundaries, honey. I'm going to read it one more time for the people in the back. Setting boundaries, forgiving someone does not mean that you have to reconcile or continue the relationship as it was before. Okay? It is important to set healthy boundaries to protect yourself and ensure your well-being. I was dying slowly. I was suicidal because of somebody else's doing, because of somebody else's behavior, because of somebody else's very intentionally trying to harm me mentally. And then I'm going to go back and try to appease you in some way and act as if you wasn't stabbing me in my belly. You see how you gotta look at that thing differently. I need you to process. I need you to process that thing differently. Somebody intentionally was trying to stab me in the, not even intentionally trying, but somebody intentionally was stabbing me in the belly. So at this point, hey fam, hey. My whole computer just like I don't even know what happened. I am going to just at that point. I don't even know what happened. My whole system just like mm, that was busy. Somebody must really need to. Somebody must really need to set some boundaries out there, honey. I'm like, I got to get back to this live. It completely took my whole thing off. Anyway, so number 7, seeking support. Seeking support, it can be helpful to seek support from trusted friends, family members, or a mental health professional. They can provide guidance, a listening ear, and help you navigate the process of forgiveness. I would recommend therapy. I know, honey, I just watched a special last night that one of my girlfriends, Deanna, sent me, and the guy was talking about how much of a stigma is out there, and that is one of the reasons why I do what I do and why I teach what I teach, because there's such stigma around mental health. I feel like something is stabbing me. I'm sorry. I'm like, I'm trying to ignore it. um we're live. um it is such a stigma out there as it relates to mental health, and as it relates to African Americans, as it relates to Christians. There's such a stigma. Oh no, you can't go to therapy. Oh no, that means you don't believe in God. Oh my goodness, no, what you doing? Oh, you can't do that. That's the holy and thou voices. And then you can't do it. Honey, please. We're so worried about what everybody else say and think, or what we're going to do, or what they're going to say, what they're going to think, that we suffer in silence. And I'm telling you this because I know for sure, because I did it. Suffered in silence for years, trying to act like and trying to pretend as if everything was okay, and it wasn't. Even that situation with my dad, very personal situation, I know for sure. Some people are going to feel some kind of way about it, but guess what? It's not about you. At the end of the day, it's not about you. It's about my health. It's about what I needed to release. It's about what helped me get through. Any and everything that I've been through, I'm going to give back and pour back to somebody, because somebody needed. Because I know for sure God is not a just because God. That is what I believe down to the core of me. God is not a just because God. Lord, what can I learn from this painful, crazy that I've gone through? What are you trying to show me? What do I need to teach about this? That's what I'm going to do until the Lord takes the breath out of my body. And even in that, your girl would have written some books. I've written a few. Your girl would have made some videos. It will live on. because nothing that I do is out of malice. Everything that I do is because I truly believe somebody else needs the lesson. Somebody needs to understand that there is a blessing in the storms. You're able to see people for who they are. I was holding my sister in very high regard in my mind. But to understand and know, as painful as it is, somebody is not holding you in high regard. Why are you holding them in high regard? And it just is what it is. No malice in that. Ain't no hard feelings. It just is with, oh, that's how you felt about me. Wow, that's okay. It's good to know. Is it painful? It is. Did it hurt me? It did. It laid me down for a minute. I ain't even gonna lie. It did. It laid me down for a minute. But at the end of the day, what can I do about somebody else feeling some kind of way about me? What can I do about that? You think I'm gonna run over? Oh no, I'm a good person. Oh no, I'm not. I haven't done anything to you. You haven't done anything to some people are just jealous and envy and all the other demonic ass spirits that is out there. And I teach about that too. Why? Because I've lived it. Because I'm living it. I had to figure out, how am I going to live and how can I teach about demonic spirits and how can people recognize them? That's what it's given me. That there are demonic spirits in this world, no matter how good you are, no matter how good you're trying to be. And so what are you going to do about it? For me, unforgiveness is something that I don't want to live with. I didn't want to live with. Again, I've had a lot of things happen to me. I've been diagnosed 45 years old with PTSD. I ain't never been in the service. I thought that lady was crazy. I was like, ma'am, what'd you say? What the test results say? Are they accurate? It was a very long test. So it's very extensive. Very extensive. I had no idea. But when I thought about it, I said, oh, yeah, I have had some things. I wish I could say the situation with my stepmother was the only traumatic thing that I've had happen, but it's not. Multiple things. Way back further than that. I was 16 when that happened. I had things happening before that. I've had things happen since that. I don't know if I'll have something, I have no idea, right? Things are going to happen. But what I'm saying to you is that you have a choice on how you deal with everything. Is it going to affect you? It is. It is. Is some things going to be painful than others? They are. The situation with my sister, the situation with my dad, it is. I mean, it's painful even with my stepmother. It's painful for me to have a stepfather that loved me like his own, to where to the fact that I know for sure you would not have known that me and this man did not have the same blood running through our veins. You didn't know that me and Tony were not his children. You didn't know that. He was at the family thing. He was up at the school. He beat our butts out of love, not to harm us in any way. Right? He taught us the lessons. He sat down and talked to us. He took us on family trips. He showed us things. He loved us. He protected us. The drug dealers were on the corner. He went outside. My children play on this corner. Y'all got to go down the street. Y'all can go up that way. Y'all can go this way. But my children play on the street. Y'all can't stay up here. He protected us. Right? To have that, and then to have somebody that is intentionally harming you, is intentionally trying to hurt you. Like I didn't have a good understanding of that. It's taken me a long time to process that thing. You're going to have, or you have some things that have happened to you. You have some people in your life that are just not going to like you. It don't have anything to do with you. That's what I need you to understand. That's what I had to realize. It ain't had, this ain't got nothing to do with me. It has to do with the insecurities that some people have in their life. It has to do with whatever their story is or whatever they got going on. But it ain't got nothing to do with me. So what am I holding that thing for? Why am I carrying that weight around? That shit is heavy. It's heavy. I'm putting it down. I put it down. I'm not carrying it anymore. I gotta fly. I got shit to do. You have purpose on you. You have something to do. You can't keep carrying that around. It's a distraction. I think that's what I was saying when the loud noise came. Lord, it scared me. I'm like, Jesus Christ, I don't even know what that noise is. Distraction. The devil gets really busy trying to get you to the grave to distract you. Just like that last noise distracted my message. What things are you allowing to distract you? Who are you allowing to distract you? What situation have you allowed to distract you? What is keeping you in the darkness? Who are you? Are you who you were born to be? Are you utilizing your gifts that you have in this world? Are you allowing the distractions to overcome you so that you can't even walk in your gift? Are you allowing unforgiveness to hold you hostage? That it blinds you so that you can't even see that you have encaged yourself? Break free, honey. Break free. Because only you have the key. Only you can do it. Because just like I said, it doesn't matter. My daddy can't do it for me. My sister can't do it for me. My stepmother sure can't do it for me. Can't nobody do it for you. I had to do that thing for myself. I had to find these answers out for myself. I had to dig deep within and figure it out, honey. You got to dig deep. You got to get still and let the Spirit of the Lord speak to you. Ask Him. He'll guide you. He'll lead you. It is just that simple. Lord, show me. Lead me, guide me, order my steps, Lord. I come before God and I say thank you. I thank you, yeah, for all the crazy, the good, the bad, and the crazy, Lord. I thank you for being a vessel. I thank God for the crazy. I thank Him for being able to process it in my mind to where I can use it to help somebody else. I'm grateful. Michelle, are you grateful for? I'm grateful for the crazy. As long as you're on this side of heaven, there may be more crazy to come. But at the end of the day, you're not a victim in none of it. Whatever it is, the molestation, the rape, the abandonment, the domestic violence, the divorce, the bad choices, the bad relationship, the terrible decisions that you made, that you're holding yourself hostage to, honey, you're not a victim in none of it. You are a conqueror, honey. Yeah, you're a survivor. Yeah, straight up. You're a conqueror, honey. You're a survivor. Look yourself in the mirror. No. Yeah, you've gone through things that would have killed other people, right? My pastor used to say that all the time. I'm like, yeah, Process that thing differently in your mind. I need you to figure out a way that you can forgive yourself because you have work to do, right? As I'm talking to you, I'm talking to me. I forgive myself daily, every day. Give yourself some grace, give yourself some compassion, right? Give yourself some grace, give yourself some compassion, honey, because you're worth it. Yes, very good. Listen, my belly feel empty today, honey. I have poured and poured, and listen, I've made up for my couple days that I ain't been here. I poured today, y'all. Your girl has poured. I've done what I've come to do for today. Ah, and how good it feels. How good you will feel when you start walking in purpose, when you start utilizing your gifts. Mine is my voice. Mine is my ability to Romans 8 and 28, any and every situation in my life. Any and every. Yes. What you doing today, honey? What you doing today? It's your girl, Michelle Franklin, honey. I'm wrapping up. Oh, what did I do? Wait a minute. I always forget this. That's why I'm like, oh, shoot. Hang on. Look, we live. Let me find my book. It is May the 30th. Let me see what this word says today. On May the 30th, 2023. Process invitation is the name of this prayer. This is Joy and Strength, 365 devotions for grief and loss, honey, because we all are grieving. It is Mental Health Awareness Month, honey, the month of May. We are wrapping up all month long. We have been on this journey, faith walk, which I started, I didn't say at the beginning, but which I started and got last month when I was leaving my brothers after my nephew passed away. And I was thinking about how I can help in my feeling of helplessness. And I was praying and I was asking the Lord, what can I do? And the Lord gave me the word hopelessness. He said, there's a feeling of hopelessness in the world. And I was thinking and praying on it, and I thought, what can combat hopelessness? And it is faith. Faith is the substance of things hoped for, the evidence of things not seen. And so what I know for sure is that any time that you're walking and feeling hopeless in any given situation, in your unforgiveness, in your finances, in your relationships, in your situationships, even though you're not able to see it, know that it is working out, that it is going to work out. That is faith. I don't know how long and I don't know when, but I knew I wasn't going to stay in the situation. I knew I wasn't going to be in it too long. God used me. He uses me every day. And so what I pray for you, honey, is for you to know that you're not going to stay in your situation always. Even whatever it is holding you hostage in the forgiveness, in the unforgiveness, you're not going to be in the situation long. It'll be over soon. Release that thing. But you have the key to release it. That's what I know for sure. So, Faith Walk Day 30, May the 30th, 2023. And here we go. Processing invitation. Do you despise the riches of his goodness, forbearance, and long suffering, not knowing that the goodness of God leads you to repentance? Are you sick and tired of hearing how good God is? If so, look deeper. What comes up for you? There's no use in ignoring where you're at or pretending to be in a better place. Get real today with your heart. How does it respond to the idea of God's goodness? There's no shame in your current state. If you are struggling with believing that He is good, or even feeling anger toward Him, this is a sign of something you, within you that needs to be met with His love. Will you invite Him into your process right now? Only He knows exactly what you need. He is the best counselor. Let Him meet you in the middle of your mess. He is willing and able. And the prayer says, God, I want to know your goodness, to really know it. But I need you to meet me where I am at today, where I'm struggling to see it all in my life. Holy Spirit, I invite you into my questions, into my doubts, and into the offense in my heart. Speak to me with your words of life. Process invitation. That is in this faith walk. People are like, man, is it that simple? It is that simple. It is just that simple. There's nothing special about me. I just asked Him, Lord, use me. I made a deal with Him some years ago. I said, Lord, my baby girl, my oldest daughter, was in some situations and I was in a terrible space. And I thought, Lord, I prayed. You know, they say you can't bargain with God, but I did. I said, Lord, please, if you get my daughter out of this situation, if you just help lead her, God, her Lord, because I've done everything that I know to do. I said, if you lead and you guide her, I said, I promise I'll do whatever you want me to do. I'll go, I'll say whatever you want me to say. And now I literally, I get downloads every day. I get downloads for my book. I get downloads for the podcast. I get downloads on things to say to you today. I literally get downloads and I'm saying it. I'm being obedient. Lord, whatever it is you want me to do, whatever it is you want me to say, all you got to do is ask Him. You don't necessarily got to have the same conversation that I had. You can have your own conversation, say it however you need to say it. But understand, it doesn't matter whether you think, oh my God, I ain't been to church in a long time. Oh my God, I ain't never been to church. Oh my God, he's not going to listen to me because I'm not. There's no prerequisite. There's no classes that you have to take. There's no perfect being on this side of heaven. So everybody is available to talk to Him. He has time for you. He's available to everyone. He's omnipresent. That means He's there with you and He's here with me. Yeah, just like that. Just like that. I'm praying for you to get out of the dark spaces that you are in, for you to allow God's divine intervention in your life. That is why I am here, honey, to bring you all the divine interventions that have happened in my life. That really does sound like a phone, but my phone is not ringing. I don't know what that is. Well, I don't know. But I'm going to wrap up. I'm going to wrap up and I'm going to say, thank you for joining me. It's your girl, Miss Michelle D.I., the Miss Divine Intervention, Miss Community Builder herself, honey. I am walking in my purpose. Yes, I'm walking in my purpose because I believe when you walk in your purpose, you inspire others to walk in theirs. And so, like Miss Celeste Brown, honey, I aspire to inspire until I expire. And that's what I'm doing. What you doing? What you doing? Join me tomorrow, honey. I'll be back for our last day of the month, the 31st, honey. We'll be back tomorrow. Have a good one.